Splatoon Raiders on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I would just say the physical gaming in general just proves something huge with the latest numbers that we are going to go over. There's been a ton of talk about why physical needs to stay, why physical needs to go, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages. Well, I'm here to tell you that Splatoon 2 is proving a number of things. One, gamers love to buy fun stuff when it comes to games, especially with the Nintendo Switch 2. There's been some talk about potentially Switch 2 software itself not doing as well. Well, the stuff that we're going to go over, we're going to discuss that, and it's quite the different thing that's happening, especially with Splatoon 2. We've got some other big updates when it comes to Resident Evil Requiem and the shocking data that's coming out from that game, especially considering what Capcom has said. We've also got some updates on more physical cartridges for the Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch 2 games set for this year, so it's going to be a good one. But before we continue, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 at 140,000 subscribers, or on September 1st, whichever comes first. Subscribe, like, comment. The winner will be chosen at random, and it's a worldwide giveaway. Thanks, peeps. All right, let's get into it here. Shout outs to Game Data Library. They put out the best-selling games of the year so far July update. Now, this goes over the Japanese retail games. This is from December 29th, 2025 through February 8th, 2026, and it says that Rhythm Heaven and Splatoon Raiders enters the top 5 with great launches. Come August, the biggest event is the Obon Holidays, though we also have the launches of Beast of Reincarnation and Marvel Tokan. So definitely good there to see more games coming in. We should see, based off of Game Data Library, they're saying that the Beast of Reincarnation game is tracking pretty well, so we'll find out about that very soon. I think the Famitsu sales will come out tomorrow as the time that I'm recording this video, so August 13th for that one, so that should be fun to see how that game does. But I wanted to talk about it because, once again, this is all about physical games. Splatoon Raiders, a couple different, I would say, contrasting opinions out there. One, that people aren't buying physical games. Well, not the case, as you can see here with the retail. Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, over 1.5 million units. Pokemon Pocopia in Japan alone, over 1 million units. Rhythm Heaven Groove in Japan alone, over 734,000 units. In Japan alone, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, over 610,000 units. And Splatoon Raiders, that launched just a few weeks ago or so now, already over 548,000 physical units sold. So that kind of knocks out two birds with one stone. One, nobody is buying physical games. That's not true. There's plenty, millions of people buying physical games just in Japan alone. And number two, Switch 2 software isn't doing well. That's been a narrative that some people are trying to paint when people talk about Switch 2 sales, to kind of say, oh, well, this is not so good based on Nintendo's reports. But one, first of all, Splatoon Raiders just launched, and we're going to have to count that in. That's a big game, and it's selling really well. But number two, Switch 2, it's backwards compatible. So you're going to have a lot of people playing Switch 1 games, Switch 1 patches to Switch 2, which get counted as Switch 1 games in Nintendo's books. So you have a lot of different games, plus the heightened sense of third-party games on the Switch 2. So it's all going to come together, especially as we start getting more Switch 2 exclusives that people are really looking forward to in the biggest franchises, like Splatoon, for example. We've got The Legend of Zelda coming up. That's going to sell super big. We've got Fire Emblem, which is tracking to be pretty big as well, based off of the Amazon sales charts and what we're seeing on different various places. Dagdan Edition sold out, so it does seem like Fire Emblem is going to be a big release. And Nintendo Switch Sports Resort. All of those should be big releases for Switch 2, as they are exclusive, no Switch 1 version or patches or anything. They're very distinctive games with big audiences, some more than others when it comes to Zelda versus, like, let's say, Fire Emblem, but still, nonetheless, multi-million selling audiences. And on top of that, you got physical games still doing well, still selling millions of copies among all the different games out here. And even if you look at the rest of the list here, you got Mario Kart World, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Resident Evil Requiem, Pokemon Legends ZA. I mean, there's still a ton of games that are selling great physical and that are doing good when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2 software. So I do feel, or I do believe, that everything is fine on that front, and it's only going to go up as Nintendo actually gets out some of the biggest franchised games out there in their main series. Because remember, there's still no 2-version Pokemon game. That's next year with Pokemon Winds and Waves. You still have Xenoblade Genesis that's coming out next year. You still have the new big 3D Mario game. Still got Super Smash Brothers. Still have Animal Crossing built specifically for the Nintendo Switch 2. That's going to be coming up. There's still a lot of Nintendo's biggest franchises, biggest heavy hitters that are yet to release. And even with Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, you still have the next big Legend of Zelda game that I'm almost positive is going to be revealed within the next 2 years. So I do believe that Ocarina of Time is just something they've been working on for a bit, and now they have it. But that next big Zelda game, that's also being worked on too. That is going to be an event. So I still feel that Switch 2 software is only going to get bigger and better. And what we have here with physical games is something that doesn't need to be taken away. I think that it's pretty clear at this point, especially on the Nintendo side, that physical games are here to stay. Now let's discuss a little bit more, kind of piggybacking on what I said about physical games. Christopher Drink put out some information that was very interesting. In the US, just 22% of Resident Evil Requiem's sales were physical to the end of June, but it was over 55% physical in France, 51% in Japan, 43% in Australia, and 40% in the UK. This is according to Ampere. Not all markets are built the same when it comes to the digital transition. And this is some of the most compelling evidence, because Capcom will tell you all their sales are digital. Everything is digital. We're okay with digital. And then the actual data here, because they don't give the 100% splits across all their games, Capcom has a lot of digital sales, has a lot of digital incentive, and obviously that's on purpose to get people to buy digital because they make more money off of that than shipping to retail stores. Capcom also undershipped Resident Evil Requiem, so then when it was sold out many places, people were forced, if they wanted to play the game, to buy the game digital. So Capcom does these little sneaky things here and there, but the reality, the actual data right here, shows exactly what I've been saying and so many have said. When it comes to big AAA titles that have a fair shake at retail and actually get the copies out there, people still support it. Even 22% when it comes to the overall sales is still a significant portion. But if you start breaking it down by certain regions, it's a lot higher, even to the point to where physical is sometimes more than digital. Whereas people online will tell you, oh no, everything's just digital. All the digital ratios are better in every single place for every single game. And that is not correct. Sometimes it's split, sometimes it's really close, sometimes a bit more depending on the game, depending on the franchise. So I think personally, this proves that there shouldn't be some type of mass execution of physical media in lieu of digital. It's being done because they want to siphon more money from the gamers, and they want to remove the control. They want to tie everything to account. They want to be able to remove stuff or remove different things at their own whim. And I think that they don't want used games. They don't want that at all. So that's what it is, guys. It's not trying to make things better. It's not like you're going to get more discounts or deals or better features or anything. It's just going to be the removal of physical and potentially even higher prices when it comes down to it. Look at GTA. No real physical, 80, 100. I mean, the $80 version is the version that it's like, okay, they strip back stuff out of there. So really the game costs $100 if you really want the real GTA. So that's one of the things here, guys. It's not something that's done to benefit the consumer at all. It's just to benefit the corporations. So the data is in, and it shows that people are still buying physical. We saw that with the Japanese sales. We're seeing that with big major games, even like Resident Evil Requiem. Okay, let's get into a little bit more when it comes to physical, because it doesn't just stop there. Shout outs to Forever Sandiorian. He put up this tweet that I thought that was interesting and people weren't really talking about. I found it fascinating when it comes to the real on-cart physical tracker. So by December 2026, there will be over 103 Switch 2 games full on cartridge. It seems developers are starting to understand people want games full on cartridges. This is a great sign for longevity of physical media on Switch 2. So yes, this is definitely good. 58 out now at this point. By the end of the year, that's almost doubling when it comes down to that. That is good. I think that gamers, when you let your voices and wallets be heard, this is the result. And that's what I was trying to tell people. I was trying to tell people, hey, look, we got these game key cards all over the place. There's not a lot of physical on-cart games. But if we say something, and if the Switch 2 does well, and if we purchase the games that do come out physical on-cart, that will improve. And just like I said last year, just like I said earlier this year, it's exactly happening now. A lot more physical on-card games. It's been incredible. If you look at this graph from the beginning here in June 2025, look how small it was. There was barely anything. There was only like 7 or 8 games. And now all the way at this point to July or so, 58 plus out now, and then 103 by the end of December. So it is loud and clear from the independent developers to the bigger developers. Get the games full on cart. Listen, I get it. Profit margins. There are some games that maybe it doesn't make sense if the developer does not have the money or if they can't invest that. But a lot of games, they do. A lot of developers, they do. And the Switch 2 install base is rapidly expanding. If you really want to get everyone on board, and once again, you will make that up. Having a real physical cartridge in today's day, having real physical media is more important than ever. It's more important than ever because there are people that are trying to destroy, actually Sony, when it comes to physical media. So it's going to be more valuable and you are going to get extra sales. So that profit margin that you're looking for, or that margin that you have to spend on the cartridge, you're going to make it up by selling probably another 2 or 3 more copies than you wouldn't have sold if it was simply a key card. So you will make that up. Now, I made that data up, but I do believe that it's going to be at least 2 or 3 more people. If they hear physical on cart, you instantly get more people buying it. That's why we're seeing more people, more cartridges, more everything with that. I do believe Nintendo's the last hope when it comes to physical. Most people do not want to do it, but it's still there. And I think that the company that makes talking flowers, Virtual Boy plastic shells, and alarm clocks called Alarmo definitely feels like there's something with physical that is important. Even if it doesn't make complete sense, they're still doing weird stuff like that. So physical, in my opinion, should be here to stay. And this is fantastic data that we're getting in here. So good stuff there. But there's also fantastic data that Stellar Blade is still launching this year on the Nintendo Switch 2. And I'm hoping that Shift Up, they do the right thing. You get Stellar Blade full on cart anywhere that you want. Once again, that is a very nice touch, very nice thing. I'm hoping for it, but we do not know yet. So Genki over on Twitter says, Shift Up reconfirms Stellar Blade for Switch 2 is scheduled to release within 2026. So 2026 is a landmine right now. The end of 2026 from September, October, November. These months are just blitzed with big Switch 2 games, big PlayStation, Xbox, and obviously the biggest game, that's going to be GTA 6. So I do think that Shift Up is trying to navigate, one, optimizing getting the game done for the Nintendo Switch 2 to run as good as possible, but also, 2, evaluating exactly where they're going to slot their game in to have the most success. And I'm not exactly sure where they're going to put it. Now, if you put it in September, that's just too crowded. You've got Fire Emblem, you've got Trails in the Sky. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's already a lot of RPGs and big games. I think that that's probably a no-go, and we're 1 month out from that. So it doesn't seem likely that September is the time. Now, I do believe that this game will probably get a release date at an upcoming Nintendo Direct, or we'll see something from Shift Up announcing the release date in September. So September is probably out of the realm of possibility at this point. I do think October or December are probably the 2 best time periods. October because it's before GTA, and that's whatever. GTA is not on the Switch 2, but it's before then when it comes to mindshare. And October doesn't have as many big Switch 2 games that we know of right now. There's some stuff, there's some good games. You've got Nintendo Switch Sports Resort, you've got some other titles coming out. I think Final Fantasy Resonance comes out in October, but I do think like a mid to early October release is probably the most likely for Stellar Blade on the Switch 2. Or you can skip over October, skip over November, because November is Ocarina of Time, and that's GTA, and there's also a few other games. November, probably a no-go as well. December, you can put the game in there, but you miss the Black Friday kind of holiday shopping. I do think that it's either going to be October or it's going to be December, one of those two. So we'll see with that. And I'm looking forward to it because Stellar Blade is a fantastic game. I played it on the PlayStation 5. I thought it was phenomenal back in 2024. Now we get a Switch 2 version of it optimized for the platform, and it should be good based off the footage that they've shown so far. So what do you think about everything that we discussed here? let me know in the comment section below. All right, peeps, that wraps it up for this one here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.